If you remember the movie The Princess Bride, you might remember a scene where Wesley is telling Princess Buttercup, "Life is suffering, Highness. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're selling something." Now, I thought that was a great line. And it's interesting because the religions of the past, if you look at Christianity, look at Buddhism, a lot of the same things come up, same themes come up, and not in exact words. But if you look at Buddhism, one of their biggest tenets is rid yourself of desire. Life is suffering. Rid yourself of desire. That desire is what causes the suffering. So if you rid yourself of desire, then you won't have the suffering. Then you'll be able to achieve enlightenment. Jesus, his teachings, I don't think he came out and said it, but what a lot of people interpret and what I kind of interpret from the cross and what he had to go through to bear his cross is, hey, life is suffering, man up, get used to it, put your cross on your back, get up that hill and do what you need to do, right? I think about that with Jesus all the time because he knew what was coming. It wasn't like it was some big surprise and he took it as it came and he suffered as it went. He knew his suffering was coming and he still went along with it. So it's an interesting interplay, whether you're, directing, writing a movie, creating a new religion or the Son of God. The theme across that is life is suffering. And, I think about what I do as a personal trainer and exercise and training and lifting and doing these things. It's a mini form of suffering. I mean, think about the difference, even like in the same health sector, right? A massage versus a training session, right? It's like a massage. Yeah, sometimes it can be painful, but it's like it also is very relaxing. It also feels good. So you're paying money to get something good. Well, people pay me money so that they can have their muscles burn and be sore for a couple days after. They sweat, they get hot. It's suffering in a mini sense, all right? We're only doing it for 30 minutes to an hour, but we're suffering, but the rewards are there. These massive rewards are there, even if it's just keeping yourself able to do some of the most basic things of life. I feel like it's an antidote to the already suffering life that we deal with is, hey, inject more suffering into your life. Now you might say, well, what do you mean life is suffering and I'm going to voluntarily add more suffering? Jordan Peterson talks about this. It's like if someone is holding you down and torturing you and you're suffering like that, that's not what we're talking about, right? That is something that everybody could do without. But what I'm talking about is life is suffering. You're going to go through pain. You're going to go through trials and tribulations. You might as well pick the thing that you're going to suffer through, right? You might as well understand that there's going to be something good at the end of the tunnel. There's light at the end of the tunnel, right? Even if it's not even in your lifetime, right? But at least you're going through the daily activities and these things and understanding that there's a bigger picture that can help drive you through. But suffering is one of those things that if you understand how to manage it correctly, right? Like we're talking about with exercise, it gives you so much. If you're disciplined, right? If you're disciplined, discipline is a way of suffering. It's like, okay, I could eat all this crap that I have, or I could go get fast food and it's really quick, all right? I wouldn't suffer, right? Maybe my pocketbook would suffer a little bit, but I wouldn't, I still have to buy food anyways. So it's like, I would suffer a lot less. I would have this pleasurable experience while I'm eating. But the long-term effects of that and doing that aren't good for me. So it's like when I say life is suffering, don't just think about a physical human life. Think about childbirth. You have to suffer to bring life into the world. And I think that that's what these people were talking about. Not just your life is suffering and you're going to be tortured through life. Some people have, and some people have lived horrendous lives. But what I'm getting at is the life and energy, that positive side of the grass is growing, the flowers are blooming, life, right? Versus death is suffering. it's a weird thing to think about. You think death is suffering, right? But it can be. But life is, I think, just one of those things that we're going to have to deal with, right? In regard to it sucks, right? There's so many moments when things suck. If you can be disciplined yourself, if you can be planning your suffering, like a scheduled training session, right? If you're planning things in, you're going to have control over it. If someone else is forcing you to do things, get yourself out of that situation as fast as possible, especially if it's something that you know is not good for you. But you want to be in charge of your own suffering. And I think this is one of those things that we're not seeing, we're not understanding in our world today is, the things that I do on a daily basis contribute to my long-term overall well-being, my health, my finances, everything. So with that being said, if I'm disciplined, if I go through this suffering planned and regular and scheduled, there's going to be life, right? That I'm going to create things out of that. And whether it's we're making a movie, we're starting a religion, or we're the Son of God, right? Princess Bride, Buddha, Jesus, they're all understanding that there are these fundamental principles of life that we can't get around. So let's not try to get around them like we're doing in our society where everything is pleasurable. Every moment of the day has to be pleasurable. Every bite of food has to be pleasurable. But those things are ending up destroying what we've built. Your body, right? You're destroying your body if everything has to be this deliciously tasting sugar, salt, fat filled thing, right? Which is what we eat now. That's just what we eat. It's going to create even more unnecessary suffering. We have a certain amount. We said life is suffering. We have a certain amount, right? But trying to avoid it is only going to cause more. I think that's what these people were trying to say. You can go the Buddhism route and just get rid of all your desires, but then you're probably not living in a society, right? You're probably, kind of away from things. I want you to be in with society. I want you to help influence your community and the people around you. And discipline is one of those things that you can do. And you know what you need to do, right? You've been probably telling yourself for years or months or however long, but getting into and understanding that you're not going to run away from it. As a matter of fact, running away from it is only going to cause more problems in the future. So life is suffering. Just get used to it. If someone tells you otherwise, they're selling something. Thank you, Princess Bride, for that one. I thought that was great. But that's my rant on life and suffering. Get after it, stay hard, and understand that you're not alone. Everyone at some level is going through suffering, whether they choose it, whether they're subjected to it. But let's choose our own, and you'll be better off for it in the long term.